Hey everyone, Frugal Panda here with a bed build on a 2014 through 2020 Kia Sorento. As you can see, start with using cardboard. Use the cardboard to trace out the design. You can do this with any vehicle. This is my first time. I am not a carpenter by any means, everybody, and I have never done this before. I used scrap wood that I had around the house from when I was working on a Dodge Caravan that I had. This was my first time ever doing it like this. Literally, I wish I had known to do this or watch some YouTube videos when I was doing the Dodge Caravan. I would have did a much better fitting bed than I did with the actual Dodge Caravan. Now, with that being said, I traced it with cardboard, then cut it out, did a rough cut, of course. And like I said, I stated earlier, I am not a carpenter. This is just me doing it and trying something out that I had never done before. So I cut it out with my jigsaw. Nothing much to it. Slowly cutting around it. It was really cold. This is Denver, Colorado. It was probably about 30 degrees. Somehow I always end up working on stuff during that time. So cut everything out, took my time on it. This total build, by the way, took me 1 day. And technically it was 2 days, but it was really only 1 day. But all the staplers I had were broken. So I had to wait to the next day because by that time I was pooped and didn't feel like going anywhere. So after cutting it out and doing all that, you're going to take the wood and take it and place it back in your vehicle, your Sorento or whatever vehicle you're using that you've traced out your piece of wood that's going to be for the bed platform. Just be careful putting it in here because it's going to be a rough cut. You don't want to scrape up your plastics and everything in your vehicle because you're going to still have to go back more than likely and do a little bit more cutting and sanding to get it right. So you want to make sure that just be mindful of the plastics in there. You don't want to, put a bunch of scratches in your vehicle. Now, after you've got it cut out and everything, the very first cut that you've done on it, you're going to want to go around it and look it over. I wouldn't sand on it or anything yet until you actually place it in the vehicle to know where you're at and what you need imperfections and all that stuff you need to look at. So as you can see, put it in there. I'm being very careful. I don't want to rip it. As you can see, I still have my mats in there. One, it's good for cleanup because there's still wood and dust all over it. I'm going to have to vacuum up later, so it's better to clean it off and have the mats down first. But you can see my little rubber mats in the back. They're sitting up against the plastics itself. I checked to make sure my seat could go up, my single rear seat. So if I'm out by myself, honestly, I can leave that seat up and I can slide right over to it, whether I'm stealth camping in the city, or I'm, just camping somewhere and I want to have the seat up so I can slide right over to it. And by the way, I forgot in this video, and I apologize. I'm going to do some more to the bed, actually itself, but I can sit up on it. I lean over a little bit, but it is not like a coffin. You can clearly tell that by actually looking at it when I put it in the finished thing, but it's not like a coffin, so I can sit up. A little hunched over, but I can sit up, and that's really a big deal. One of my issues with the Chevy Volt was you couldn't sit up, and it was like a coffin. Now, as you can see, I'm balancing it right now because I want to make sure it's level. So using a level right there to check it. Cutting little wood legs to put underneath it. You can put as many as you want. I put 2 at the end, 2 in the middle, I want to say, and 1 more in another part just to strengthen it up. But depending on how much you weigh and what how much you weigh and how comfortable you are in regards to worrying about the strength of the wood or concerns around the wood, you can put as many legs as you really need on it, or stronger ones than I'm using. Drill first and then put the screws in. It keeps you from accidentally splitting the wood. Trust me, I've done that a lot in the past. It's just one extra step that actually gives you peace of mind. I learned the hard way with that. So as you can see, that's what I'm doing, drilling little holes. Then I'll put little wood screws. A lot of the screws I reuse from other old projects. I've learned, I think from YouTube and stuff, to stop just throwing away screws and stuff if they're just a little bit, they're a little bit worn or damaged, but you could reuse a lot of them. So I reused a lot of my old screws for this project, which I was actually really proud of doing that, to be honest with you. and that's all I'm doing. I got it balanced. I cut the legs. One thing before you put the legs on, so in case I forget, make sure you sand the legs down too to keep you from getting splinters. It'll keep it from pieces of wood ripping off. And you see right there, I did all the others except for those. And then I had to go back later and sand the end two legs. So as you can see, I measured the legs, and that's showing you where I measured the legs at before I put them on. So I knew I think it was around 6 inches. And that's exactly what I did right there. And I'm measuring the legs. This is for the middle piece. So I felt a little bowing happening right there in the middle. No big deal. Just add 2 more legs. And that's exactly what I did. So actually this one was 4 inches. The rear of it was like 6 inches off the ground to make it actual level. So for the middle part, it was around, I believe, 4 inches or so. So simple thing is I cut 2 little legs for it, sanded those down real quick, and then I drilled them in there. And that was basically it. Now to line them up, because sometimes when you're doing a project, once you start to get in the flow of it, or me personally, I start going a little too fast and trying to cut corners. This time I slowed down. So I put the first leg in. Now, after I put the leg in, I got a piece of cardboard. And I used a piece of cardboard to line up the other leg. What I'm doing is just lining up where I want the screws in about where I want them. It doesn't have to be exact, but just so I don't have one leg sitting way back from the other. So they're pretty much right next to each other, so I know where they're at. So that's all I'm doing right here. Same thing, drill them out, put the legs in, and you're good to go on that. And I was actually really proud of myself doing this project. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was concerned about it, but it all worked out. The total cost of this project was less than $100. I reused a lot of old scrap wood I had from other projects. I would say if you had to build this bed and you didn't have anything besides your tools and maybe some screws and stuff, you didn't have a stapler, believe it or not, a lot of people don't have staplers and stuff like that. I would say a total cost would be around $150 or so if you went straight to the store and had to purchase all that stuff. That's what I would probably guess. I would definitely believe it's under $150, especially if you went to like a Home Depot or Lowe's and you found like scrap wood, like the 75% off and all that good stuff. That would definitely be a good buy, is to get some scrap wood and stuff. And some of that wood is actually really quality. Keep a vacuum close to you when you're doing all this drilling and stuff. You'll want to use the vacuum just because the vacuum helps you clean up now instead of have to clean up a lot later. Here you see what I'm using. I'm using 1/2 inch foam. I could have got 1 inch. I could have got 2 inch, but I didn't know because I was like, I don't know how well this would come out. And I don't want, and it gets more expensive the bigger, the more you use. I also use fleece over the top of it. Now that I know I can do this, the next time I do one, I will do one that is probably 2 inches at least. But I really didn't know, and I was afraid, well, what if I screw up and I just wasted all this money? I use furniture glides. You want that so you can slide it in there so you're not tearing up. Even though I sanded it down, it keeps it from tearing it up. You can use those type of glides. You can use the sticky ones, whatever. As you can see, I laid everything down, the fleece over the top of that. Then I used the cover. This is all from Walmart, by the way, everyone. I put it on, tightened everything up. I used the thumbtacks like this, or push pins, and pushed them in the sides to hold it tight on the sides until I could actually staple it down, which I did the next day. And the only reason it was the next day is because I found out later that all my staplers were broken, so I had to go buy a stapler. Yeah. Was not happy. T50 staples, style staples. Basically, I just stapled everything down. Don't expect me to be doing any antique furniture for you, and making it look good for you. I'm not the best at it, but I can tell you what, from doing this project this one time, I know the next time I do it, it will be so much better. I can tell you that for a fact. I just started getting the hang of it, and I was like, oh, I got it. I trimmed off the excess material, but then I also rolled it up and stapled it underneath. As you can see, it didn't come out too bad. And like I said, that's a 1/2 inch of furniture foam, or I believe that's what they call it, and some fleece that I put over the top of that, and then I put, the material I bought from Walmart over the top of it. And I got the cheapest they had because I didn't know, like I said, how good it would do. And I'm 6 foot and I can lay down easily. And in the Sorento, you can be taller than that too. I put it in. I was going to put stickers along, not stickers, but like protective tape along the sides. But the corners and everything of this platform are really soft. So I'm not worried about it tearing up my plastic or anything like that. What's sticking out, that's just my rear cargo mats sitting underneath, which is what I do. I always put those under just to, help protect my carpet, even though I got the glides on there. Now, when I'm using this, by the way, you can slide stuff under there. So now I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. Do I want to have something slide out, or I just want to put cheap, like long Tupperware things that are underneath that, that can slide up under there. So I'm trying to debate it right now. Everything is very taunt on it, and it works really well. Now, I do not plan on laying on just the material itself. So I have an inflatable bed mat that I also use. And I would also put, even if I didn't use that, I would always put a sheet or something on it, because I don't want being human beings or whatever, we don't want our sweat and everything on it. Then we have to clean it. No, I'll put something over the top of it, of course. As you can see from the front, and it almost matches the inside of it. I was really happy with this. I'm going to make a second one and put a hinge, so when I take the spouse with me, and basically it would fold right up on the other side. So I think I'm going to do this project again in the future. I'm really excited. I also kept the cutout cardboard. It's still sitting in my garage, and I pretty much put a hinge in the middle, and then it's a 2-piece, right? Anyway, I was really excited. My seats come up. I have plenty of room. Like I said, I can sit up. I'm hunched over a little bit. I'm really proud of this. And I hope this helps someone out there just thinking about it. And once again, thank you, and thank everyone for watching, and have a good day. This is a 2016 Kia Sorento if you're interested.